how do you manage that remote staff, and what are some tips and tricks that I've been using over the last 6 8 months to get through this? And it's call, text message, communicate, check in. When you get to the office in a normal world, you walk in, you grab some coffee, you say hello to Sally, say hello to Bill, you see everyone, you have that FaceTime. Try to recreate that through messages, through, if you have a Jabber system or a messaging system, reach out to them every morning. Say hello, even if it says, hey, good morning, how you doing? Things like that, to break down those barriers. Try to recreate normal working world, because every time you stop, grab a cup of water or grab a cup of coffee, walk by someone's cube, you're having those interactions, and in today's world, you're not having them. It's very quick, and if you send a message, it's right to business. It's never, hey, good morning. It's you got to fight through that urge to get right down to business and greet people again, and get back to, well, it's electronic, but I still need to greet. I still need to be a person. At the end of the day, your team are people, and you need to work with them.
I know, just even from the FaceTime standpoint, since the pandemic started, friends, family, even from a business standpoint, I mean, you get up to 4 people on there and all see each other at one time, has been a great tool that we've personally used effectively.
Yeah, absolutely. Any type of video conferencing, increase those group meetings, add video conferencing, let people see you, let them, see your home office, things like that. They kind of break down those barriers, all good techniques. Recently we've been doing what I call coffee break calls, so set up a half hour, put a Zoom meeting or WebEx meeting, have the videos rolling, and just have that coffee or water cooler conversation. No work talk, just icebreakers. You can do lots of classic team building games. Just do them via Zoom. Ask each other questions. No work talk, and just enjoy each other's company, and break down those barriers, because there's new barriers with COVID, and we need to understand how we break them down, how we build that teamwork back up, and work with each other.
And I'll just, for a little comedic relief at that point, you don't want to be the news guy. I can't remember which network it was, but a couple months ago was on a video, and he had no pants on. So as we always tell every person in this COVID age, we're doing a lot of video interviews, wear pants, dress completely like you're live in person.
Absolutely. And I think during coffee break calls like that, you be a person. Sometimes my kids will walk into the call, and let your guard down. Be a person, and that's how you're gonna link in with your team. You're gonna help drive that camaraderie with your team. We're all going through it together. So don't be management like. Be a person. And work with your team.
A lot more dogs barking in the background.
Absolutely. We just got to be quick on the mute button.
We just filled a vice president of quality position a couple weeks ago, and I got to meet the chief human resources officer's son, and all kinds of other things, right? Because everybody's at home.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you got to be flexible.
Yep. Absolutely. And set realistic expectations, and ensure the team has the right tools to succeed. Do they have, an extra monitor? Do they have a docking station? Things like that when they're home, that you take for granted when you're in the office, that, you have a printer, you have all the tools to succeed. You have plenty of monitors to work effectively and efficiently. Make sure they have the right tools. And encourage your team to set hard starts and stops. I think, with COVID, you see people roll out of bed, grab their coffee, move over to the computer, 7 o'clock, start working. And then before you know it, it's 6 o'clock. And you're like, oh, I forgot to eat lunch and things like that. So, set hard starts, set hard stops. Remember that you can't work 24/7. You're going to burn out. You need to have that personal time. You need to have that family time, and encourage that, because if it's coming from your manager, people are more likely to set those hard stops. If it has to go said, don't let it go unsaid, because people just think it's the norm, and you got to reset that. You got to reset their clock and say, hey, hard starts, hard stops. The weekend is your time. Stop answering emails on the weekend. Stop answer them after 8 o'clock. The work will be there tomorrow. Important projects, yeah, there are exceptions, but you got to get back to normal, quote unquote 9 to 5 type work, because you're going to burn out.
You have to set parameters and expectations of what's important from that standpoint. And I know, before I started my business in 2015, I spent 12 years in a remote office traveling. And when I was not traveling, then I was in my office. And I always say, I think the wrong people from that standpoint typically don't end up in those type of positions. You hire the right people, they have to be very careful, because you end up working all the time, to your point. And
Absolutely.
Certainly there's times you're going to work on the weekend, but you got to set some guidelines, because you'll end up working on, all the time. One of the regulatory affairs managers that we helped with a position, she started last July, and I was talking to her a couple months ago, how are you doing? What's going on? And she's like, man, I used to commute 45 minutes one way. So I've almost gained 2 hours back into my day, and I feel like I'm working more. Yeah. So, because people, anybody in these type of positions, they're successful, educated, and they're doers. So you've got to set those expectations.
Yeah, it's very easily start rolling your commute time into your work time, because it's, you've already lost that time in your mind that, hey, it's 45 minutes each way. That's an hour and a half of my life I waste every single day. Now you start working, and you got to roll that back and set those hard stops, Absolutely. And then, from a management standpoint, reach out to your team, let them know, hey, take advantage of your time home with your family and friends. Don't get burned out. You use those hard stops. You're not commuting. That hour and a half, spend with your family, spend with your friends. Work an hour early, leave at 4. Go enjoy the summer. Go enjoy the time. You don't get it back. Once it's gone, it's gone. So enjoy it, and then be flexible. As kids are starting to go back to school, hybrid, non-hybrid, 100% homeschool, 100% in school. Be flexible. You need to be, because these are new barriers, and as long as the work's getting done, you need to be flexible, and that's how you're going to keep good players on your team.